Now, Saddleworth Moor is being investigated by police today. You've no doubt heard about this yesterday because human remains thought to be of a child around 12 years old have been found there.
Now, the only child to have gone missing and not be found on the moor, victim of the moor's murderers, is Keith Bennett, who was lured into a van on June the 16th, 1964 by Myra Hindley and Ian Brady.
Well, let's talk to Peter Bleksley, former Scotland Yard detective, who joins us now. I mean, Peter, this would be the most remarkable breakthrough if Keith Bennett has been found.
Yes, indeed it would, and we'll wait to see the results of tests. Let's hope they don't take very long. And it's all the more remarkable if these are poor Keith's remains, because, of course, they were found by a citizen, by an author, not by the police. This just goes to show the power of the citizen sleuth, the armchair detective, the power of the podcasts, which we increasingly are hearing about. And it's a very clear indication that the police's monopoly on investigating crime has quite simply been broken. And across many aspects of law and order, private individuals and private companies are doing the work that the police used to do.
You could say that, but on the other hand, this particular author has made it his life's work. I mean, I know the police should be sort of doing that as well, but they have other cases. This man has just concentrated on the Moors murders for years and years, and does appear now to have come up with something. As you say, we don't really know what they've found, but clearly the activity that the police are now carrying out there means that this is serious. It could be him.
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. And we've already heard about bone fragments, possibly part of a jaw, some decomposed clothing. And clearly it's going to be a major job to properly excavate this. But once again, if indeed these are poor Keith Bennett's remains, then Mr. Edwards, the author who has dedicated 7 years to trying to unravel this mystery, will be deserving of enormous praise. And great credit to him and anybody, of course, who has funded him, because Mr. Edwards did this very responsibly with geological architects and the like. He didn't just go up there with a bucket and spade. He did this absolutely correctly. And when an early indication of human remains were found, he then in turn had a member of his team contact the police. So it would appear to me that he's done absolutely everything properly and correctly, but it does beg the question, well, why hadn't the police done this? Why couldn't they have found the remains earlier?
It's interesting, though, isn't it? Because, I mean, the one thing we know about the moors there, I mean, they're vast, and also they were led on by Ian Brady, particularly. So many sort of wild goose chases around there. I mean, it must have been absolutely disheartening for the detectives involved. And, of course, Winnie Johnson.
Yes, and of course, poor Winnie, Keith Bennett's mum, she passed away in recent years and never saw the remains of her son found, and in turn, in that regard, was, of course, denied justice. And I'm very much victim-focused, because those who lose a loved one, they're the people that really, truly serve a life sentence, because they simply never get over such tragic loss. Keith Bennett's brother is still alive. He declined to make a comment yesterday, and I make no adverse comment whatsoever about that. I'm sure that he's waiting to see the results of these tests. And I hope against hope that actually it is poor Keith's remains that are found, so that this tragedy of over 50 years can be solved. And if there is any consolation to be had, well, at least Ian Brady and Myra Hindley are both dead now. So they won't be able to lead the authorities on wild goose chases like Brady in particular did whilst he was alive.
I don't suppose the police could have done anything else in the end, because many times Ian Brady suggested that if they just took him out to the moors, he might remember where he buried Keith Bennett. But it never came to any good, did it? Was he playing the police along, or do you think there was sincerity there?
Well, Brady, of course, was a psychopath, a severely deranged, wicked individual, and he used to try and play the power game. He led the authorities a merry dance for many, many years whilst he was incarcerated by going on hunger strike, by leading the police down blind alleyways, and really, in his own pathetic little world, tried to manipulate the establishment and every form of authority that had anything to do with his incarceration. It really is something that we need to be grateful for, that he no longer walks this planet